Welcome to Backstage Pass, where we chat with those who work behind the scenes to make events happen. It's supported by our friends at Vivid Inc., Eventflow, and their app. More about them later. My guest is Jennie Plumlee, who has many years of experience, which includes being a marketing director, organising conference sponsorships, and creating global webinars. And there's much more, as you can see on our LinkedIn profile. She's currently sharing her expertise with university students, in particular helping them to discover a career in corporate events. Jennie found a few minutes in a busy day to have a quick chat with me. I start by asking why corporate events are different. So, Jennie, I have a question. What is the difference between a corporate event planning and everything else that involves event
Sure,
planning?
absolutely. It's a good question, and I think a lot of people don't understand the difference. So, corporate event marketing, the reason that we plan events in corporate marketing is to drive business. So, there's a different strategy, there's a different approach, and there should be a different result, right? We should be getting business at the end of the day. And business looks different depending on the kinds of events that you're planning. So, while I believe in kind of the other side of event planning, it could be for social reasons or to connect people for weddings or celebrations. Really, the purpose of corporate event marketing is to drive more business for the organization that you're working for. And that comes in a variety of ways. I mean, that could be fundraising as well, but the area that I'm focused on is really business opportunities.
Yeah, as that's the thing, isn't it? That a lot of people, when they hear the word event planning, or the words event planning, I should say, first of all, they jump to mind, oh, you must organise weddings. But the other thing is well, is event planning is such a broad term for the different activities. There is a difference between, as you say, corporate event planning or getting ready for a trade show. There's all sorts of differences. So, what do you think is the most important aspects that people should know about corporate event planning and marketing?
Well, I definitely think it takes a different kind of person that wants to do corporate event planning. It's very much a game to me. I think it's a lot of fun. And there's different levers that you pull. So there's a lot of different kinds of events that you plan for different reasons. So, for example, if you don't know the audience and you're really trying to just get to know people and get more leads from an audience that you know your buyer is there, but you don't know who they are, then that's when sponsorship makes sense. So you want to go sponsor a conference, and that's when you go and sponsor, and you may have a booth, you may have some branding opportunities. You also really want to try to gather the people at the conference that are most likely to buy from you and do something special for them. So that might be entertainment, or it may be a happy hour. So there's lots of different things that you can do at a conference. If you know the buyer already, but they don't have a strong relationship or a deep relationship with them, then that is when you do a different kind of event. And a different kind of event is there's a lot of different options here that you can play with, but one of them is maybe a suite at a game where you invite them to come to you, and maybe before the game starts you have a little bit of a discussion over a particular hot topic or something that they're struggling with, maybe even have a client speak on your behalf to talk about some of the great things that you've done for them, and really develop that relationship, discuss business, and then really deepen the relationship and sell business. So that's really another option. And there's a variety of ways that you can do that. And then the third area is if you already know them, they already know who you are, but you just want to sell something different to them. That's when you have maybe a roundtable discussion. You just bring them into the office and then have a lunch, something super casual, and really just discuss something that's valuable to them, and maybe have a workshop or a design thinking or something that really kind of talks about what are they really struggling with and how can we help. They already know you, they already trust you. Maybe they don't know that you do a particular area of business that you can help them with, and so you kind of build that out a bit. So I would say Those are kind of the three primary categories: the conference sponsorships or any sponsored events, the client entertainment or some sort of like something to draw them in and discuss business. And the third option is really when they already know you, they already trust you, you're just trying to continue to sell into them. And those are the roundtable forums. Um, and we do those on repeat. I mean, in our company and every company, we probably do close to 100 different marketing activities a year. They're all a little bit different reasons, a little different purposes, but all for, at the end of the day, driving business.
So it's like treating each one, each strategy is almost like a tool in the toolbox, which you assess the
Yes.
situation, you go, right, I think this one, and you pull it out,
Yes.
read it through. Yeah, good match. Let's go for it.
Yes, absolutely. We're always looking at who is our target company, is our target account list, and which ones do we know well, which ones do we know, but they don't really trust us yet, and then which ones do we not know, and where are they, and where can we go after them? So it is definitely, to me, a fun game. We're not doing the same thing. I will say, it's not always as creative and fun, you know? I mean, there's only so many ways you can discuss like financial analysis, you know, in an exciting way. But so it's not as sometimes it's not as fun as like a flashy fundraiser or a beautiful wedding. You know, sometimes it's not as creative. A lot of times it's rinse and repeat. We may be doing a same event in Chicago and also in New York and Atlanta. I mean, obviously a little bit of a different audience, but still similar audience, similar level, similar title, and similar topic. So sometimes that's not, you know, that's not what everyone is cut out for, but I love it. I think it's fun.
Well, there's always going to be that boring bit, as you say, like the financial analysis, justifying the expenditure and all that, because not only do you have to do that to the person you're speaking to, but that person has to take it up the management levels to their bosses just to make sure it does happen again next year, or
100%.
that
And I will
that
tell
sort of
you,
thing.
the CFOs or the directors of finance, they love their job. Most of the time, they love talking about this stuff. So to be able to get into the room with other people that are like-minded and solve problems that they're struggling with and somebody else has figured out, like that's exciting to them. So just because it may not be exciting to you as the planner sometimes, it is really exciting to be in the same room and that they get very invigorated by the conversation and they're solving problems. I mean, I remember obviously during COVID, there was just a healthcare crisis, and I was working with healthcare leaders, and we were doing virtual forums, and we were talking about real problems, and they were solving real problems that they had never had to deal with before. And so it is actually very world changing in your own, in your own corner of the world. So it doesn't have to be, it may not be the most exciting, but it can be very life changing.
Yeah, yeah, and of course that builds up to vast amounts of experience. Now, I'm not going to mention ages or anything like that. You just don't do that. It's polite. But you have, what, if I remember rightly, at least 20 years experience of
I've been doing this for a very long
building
time.
into this. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been doing this for almost 25 years now. I started doing arena size events for a women's conference. I did that for 4 years, did a variety of roles. I did PR, sponsorship management, event planning, and then marketing and a little bit of sales. And then I moved over to a large consulting firm and built their field marketing team, their regional marketing team from the ground up. So we had over 35 offices, 35 markets where we would do in-market activities to drive business for the Chicago or the Atlanta or the Dallas or the San Francisco or the New York market in a variety of different ways. So it was really exciting. I love that. And then now I just recently moved over to a new role, and I'm working with a large company that, among other things, they do a lot of things, but they outsource call centers. And then there's just a lot of, it's very technology, AI driven, right? So we're right now trying to meld together emotional intelligence and AI and the human centeredness of contact centers. But then also that skill set can be used in other ways like collections or HR. So it's back office, it's front office, and it's also back office. So I'm working and building. I am the senior director of field marketing there and have a great team. And we run a lot of events for the US region and just to drive business. And it's a lot of fun. I mean, I'm working with the business and they're really excited to connect with potential clients or current clients and talk about all the solutions that we have. So I'm just really connecting the puzzle pieces together and trying to help companies. In my world, I really do believe like we are truly helping companies be better, be more effective, maybe not spend as much money, and so it's fun for me.
It sounds it, yeah. Well, it does sound like you're the kind of person who just loves connecting with people and
I
just
do.
helping them out through all of this complicated conference and event planning and marketing.
Yes, in my spare time, which I don't have very much of, I did start a little bit of an Instagram channel to start training the next generation of corporate event planners. So I believe that a lot of people in marketing don't even know that this exists. I mean, they may think like you said, event planning, wedding planning, but there's really a business side to event planning that is just as much fun, just a little bit of a different take on it. And so I really am just training people that are considering a career in corporate events, what it looks like, how to get into it, how to get experience, what tools do they need to be able to do this well. Because, yes, you need to be an expert project manager, but you also need to know more about data and, ROI, and you need to be able to know stakeholder management. And I mean, there's a lot of other things that you need to know. So it's been kind of a fun little adventure. Have heard from a lot of people out there that didn't know this existed, and now they're being, introduced to a new world and really interested in it. So it's been fun doing that, and also people in marketing that are maybe in their first, anywhere from 1 to 5 years that are at a marketing either agency or they're doing marketing. They may need to know events. Maybe they're not doing corporate events, but they need to know the role that corporate events plays in the entire marketing strategy. Because we all work together, right? We all have pieces of the puzzle that are driving business. Corporate events is not the only thing that's driving business in the marketing function. We have a really great digital function and PR, and we have a lot of other people that are players in this game that are also driving business. So even if you're not doing corporate event marketing, I think it's important to know the role that this piece of the marketing puzzle plays, because we can all work together more effectively.
So yeah, it's very important for anybody in that area to know what the different roles are
Yes.
because it helps you talk to the people. You know who to talk to, why they're important to talk to.
Yep, absolutely. And I think sometimes corporate event planning is dumbed down, like, oh, anybody can do that. Anybody can plan an event. And I definitely don't believe that. I don't believe anybody can do this job. I think it's a really hard job, and sometimes I don't think it gets the respect that it deserves. And I also believe corporate events is something that's not going to be taken away with AI. Now, AI is going to help us. It's going to help us be more efficient and be more effective, but it can't replace that one-to-one interaction. I really do believe people will always crave connection points and really in person. Now, corporate events can be virtual or in person, yes, but a lot of what we're driving is that in-person connection. And that's something AI will never replace. So I believe corporate events is more important than ever. And I think it will continue to gain in importance because of the role it plays in connecting people.
That's the thing. AI is just a tool. It can only
Absolutely.
be a tool because obviously at the moment we all know that AI hallucinates.
Yes.
AI will pull out facts that don't actually exist. So you can spend an awful lot of time correcting it.
100%. Yeah, absolutely. So, um, and AI is a great thing. I think there's so much potential there. Um, and I think it will help us be smarter, but you're right. It's not always trustworthy. And I think that the seeing people and being with people builds trust in a way that AI will never do. So, uh, anyway, that's at least my take on it.
Well, that's fair enough. Yeah. I mean, if you think about it, any conference or meeting, any gathering of people, by nature is face to face. By
Yes.
nature is people talking to people, dealing with people.
100%. And I will say the trend is that people are coming back to in person. Now, it is hard to get people away. I think it's harder than ever to get people to register for events. But because they're comfortable at home or they're comfortable in their office or they want to get home after the office. I get that. I totally understand. But if you can get somebody in person, the value of that is exponentially higher than it was 10, 20 years ago. Because it is harder to get people in person. But when you get them in person, just the connection you can make is really high. And again, back to the potential for business, is even higher than over, virtual.
Well, that's the thing. Depending on your audience, you may have to do a hybrid. I don't
Yep.
think anybody really wants to go back to virtual. Well, webinars and that sort of thing do exist still. But when it comes to it, depending on your audience, you have to pick the right tool. And hybrid events is yet another tool in your toolbox that you can pull out.
Yeah, hybrid is tricky because there is a technology component that costs money. So obviously, the one thing that has changed the most in the last 5 to 7 years is the amount of technologies that corporate event planners have to use. There are great technologies out there, but there's one that does a lot, but there's not one that does everything, right? And so we have to use the average. My guess, the average corporate event planners is using a minimum of 10 technologies to plan events. So hybrid is tricky because you have to have the right technology. It's also can be expensive as well, depending on how if you want lighting or if you want it to look good, depending on your audience. If it's just something, maybe you're just bringing them into a Teams or a Zoom call, then it can be a little bit more simple. But then also you lose some of the connection points, right? So I found that when you do hybrid, you have to kind of have a different take on how you engage the virtual attendees and the in-person attendees a little bit differently, but then also kind of continue to connect, right? So it's not impossible. I will say I don't see it trending up right now. But I definitely still see it as a component to some events.
Yeah, as I said, depending on your audience, it might be
Yep.
something you have to do. There
Yeah.
are people who will find it difficult to travel.
Yep. 100%.
I don't want to really reference any political situation that's going on right now, but there are people who may feel that traveling to a conference is not warranted at this time. But of course, they still want to participate. They still want to be, or at least want to feel part of it still. So a virtual element, hybrid, if you like to call it, is still an important option.
Yep. And you mentioned, I know a little bit of a different take on hybrid, but you mentioned webinars. I'm a big component of webinars for educational purposes. So I think webinars are one of the best ways to get your message out and draw new leads, right? It's a great way to drive advertising to get people to give you their information because if they're going to join it for any reason, then they're most likely going to give you a correct email address, right? And so I think webinars are a really great tool in marketing events. Now, I don't think they drive a lot of business. I think they're more of a step before that in person or before that other type of event that's a bit small, a bit more focused. But I think webinars are great. Also, because there are so many webinars, when you do get somebody in person, that's where the connection points are really important. So you may not just do content anymore. Really, what we're really kind of going after is how can we really formulate networking so people can have real more like fruitful conversations. I know the keynotes are getting shorter now, right? So people's attention span is a lot shorter. So when you do get people in person at conferences, keynotes are shorter. There's a lot more different opportunities to engage. Maybe it's a walking tour in the city, or it's a running tour, or I mean a running group that wants to go out early, or maybe it's a cocktail making or a mocktail making. So anyway, you had just mentioned virtual events, and I really do love webinars. But again, like I said, every type of corporate event marketing, it's a bit tricky. It has different, You do it for different reasons, right? And so that's why all of them are important to play into. But that's also why I think a good event strategy is important. I think somebody that has experience to be able to say, who is your audience? And then what kind of events do we do for each of the audiences um, to drive the most business?
Do you find that there's a particularly different kind of audience when it comes to conferences, especially if it's being attended by people who work at the company, maybe a company conference?
Ask that question in a different way.
Right. Okay. So when you compare the different types of audiences that are out there, a conference organized for people from many different places to come into, there's that sort. But is the audience that work for a particular singular company where you have a conference to bring everybody together? I mean, are they two different audiences or is it
Oh,
always treated the
yes.
same?
100%. So obviously, when you're bringing a conference, maybe an internal conference together, um, I think it has a lot of similar components, right? But maybe in that case, if it's an internal conference, it's probably not driving business. It's really educational and then kind of connecting and maybe sharing about new product releases and maybe sharing about new solutions that the company offers. So it's really educational before they go out to sell. But the conference that maybe they're putting on for their clients or their partners or any of those sorts of things is for the purpose of selling. So you may have some of the same components of networking or sessions or all of these or even booths, but obviously for a different reason. I don't know. Did that answer your question?
I think so. Yeah,
I don't know.
basically, yeah, yeah. No, that's cool. No, obviously, all this is based on your amazing 25 years of experience. But if I remember correctly, you're also sharing this experience in within education, within universities and colleges.
Yeah, I've started to speak at colleges. And really in marketing classes, I've really enjoyed that a lot. I didn't realize I enjoyed that so much because I hear people come up afterwards and ask me like, I didn't even know that corporate events, like I've been in marketing for 4 years studying marketing and I didn't even know corporate events was a career. And I'm like, really? That's so sad because it's such a great career. And I will say universities are picking up on it though. I've been seeing more and more not beyond just certifications, actually degrees or, specifications in corporate marketing in the marketing department. So I do believe it's going to continue to grow because, like I said, 100%, I think the need for corporate events and event marketing is only going to continue to increase because we need connection and it comes in a variety of different forms.
And like you said earlier, you're sharing some of this experience on your very recently created Instagram account.
It's been fun. I've loved it. It's a lot more work than you think. I
Oh,
don't,
well, I can imagine. Yeah. Are you still
I
able
thought it
to?
would be easier. It's not easy, but it's been fun though.
Are you still able to keep up your TikTok account? Because I saw it. I've seen you've got
I
one.
know, I'm not doing very good on TikTok. I need to take some of my Instagram and TikTok is just like I said, it's a different audience, right? It's a different purpose.
Yeah.
I've been really building into Instagram. I need to repost some of it in TikTok. I used to do it at the same time, and I have been very bad at doing that. So I really do. But it's just me doing it, and I have a full-time job that requires a lot of hours. I also have a family. I have two kids, married. And then I want to have friends and I want to have a life too. So, and since we all just have 24 hours a day, and I like to sleep too, so it doesn't all
Oh,
it doesn't
that's
all
all.
work it out.
It's all a luxury. You're not allowed to have friends and sleep. I mean, it sounds like you're so busy at the moment.
Oh, I do like my sleep. That's kind of, my good 8 hours a night. I don't want to compromise on that.
No, I don't think anybody should compromise on their sleep. It's very important. Um, so what's next? What are you up to? What's the plan?
Well, I will continue to plug away at work. I've enjoyed kind of building into a new event strategy that we're working on. We're obviously super busy in planning for 2026 and have a lot of um, analysis to do on how we did this year and what we can do better. But personally, I really am going to start. My plan is in the early new year to start some free webinars for people on my channel that they're asking. I need this information in a more streamlined approach. Like, what do I do? What's step one? What's step two? Because Instagram is a little bit like just like short snippets here and there, right? And so I'm actually looking at doing maybe a free webinar series of trying to help people. Now, there's a different, I have a little bit different audiences, but then continue to just provide training for those. I really just want to elevate this industry. I think it's a lot harder than people think it is. But I also think it's a lot of fun and I think it's a great career. And I want to help people get there. I've been doing this for 25 years. So, and honestly, as I hire and as I look for people, there's some really great corporate event planners out there. But then I think there's some people out there that would be really great if they would just give it a try. And I want to try to get them, and then we can all work together better and we can be more effective. So, and I mean, eventually one day far away, I will retire and move on. And I really want this industry to continue to grow.
Just one following question then. So when you do eventually retire, which I don't see happening, I really don't. Are you going to keep carry on in Texas, or are you going to go somewhere with sandy beaches, palm trees?
Oh, I have no idea. I just asked my husband the other day and he randomly threw out like North Carolina and I was like, "Oh, we've never even visited North Carolina together." So, I don't think we know where we're going to go next. Texas is definitely home. But I will never stop loving to travel. After college, I spent a gap year, and traveled around the world. And I got to work out of London for 6 months and traveled to Africa and Australia and a little bit of Asia. And I have a travel bug. I mean, I love Texas. I feel like Texas is home, but I will never stop traveling. You will always find me in a new city, exploring something new and meeting new people. It just fills my cup.
Expanding your experiences, learning new things, and sharing it on Instagram and TikTok, which I'll put in the show notes so everybody can find them.
Thank you. Thank you so
Um,
much.
yeah. All right. Well, thank you very much for your time today.
Bob, you're the greatest. This is really
And
fun. Thank you so much for having me. I
thank you so much. And your enthusiasm's going to spill out everywhere.
Well, it is Friday, the enthusiasm is going to weather as my day goes on, but it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for having me. I feel very honored to be on your podcast today.
This was a production for the EPM Podcast Network and supported by patrons and sponsors. Vividink doesn't just deliver PR and social media marketing, its team becomes an extension of your organisation, taking the time to understand your business, your audience and your goals, ensuring every campaign is built on insight and strategy and creativity. They are known for exceptional results, building the right relationships, crafting the right messages and amplifying your voice to the right audiences. Event flow is the secret weapon for event teams who've had it with PDF exhibitor manuals, shared drives and spreadsheet chaos. From Goodwood to AIME, Eventflow brings every exhibitor and sponsor into one fully branded hub, automating the painful stuff, streamlining the important stuff and keeping your brand front and centre. Professionals are spread across more places than ever and need better coordination with their teams to cut through the noise and get stuff done. Their app aims to help with holistic management for on-site projects, including opt-in sharing of live teammate locations. Huge thanks to our industry friends for their continued support and encouragement. You too can become a patron or sponsor. Just follow the links in the show notes.